pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll ask those present to bear with us. We have some unfinished business to take care of, and then I'll open the public hearing. Budget Committee, do we have a quorum? Good.
Yep.
You'll notice the recommendations at the bottom of the articles have been changed to reflect a recommend and a do not recommend vote, and we thank the school for changing this to reflect the way it's been stated for over 20 years for the voters. The school board has also chosen to leave warrant articles that the Budget Committee unwittingly changed as the Budget Committee had changed them. They also voted to eliminate the roof article that we had zeroed out. We will be addressing Article 8, adding $100,000 back into the Educationally Disabled Children's Expendable Trust Fund, and Article 16, which we already voted on December 26th. Now we can choose to address all of these articles, two of these articles, or any other article you'd like to. Just remember that we can only change dollar amounts on Article 7, the operating budget. Does anybody have anything they want to discuss before we go to Article 8?
Yeah, I do.
Me too.
How many people got the email today about the comparison between county and school?
Yeah.
That one?
I did not.
You did?
Yeah.
I did not.
I just want to talk about this for a minute. Anybody here want to say it? Is that talk here? If you take a look at this chart, you'll see that the town is compared to the school on the tax impact for the citizens in this town. If you look at the town, you're going to see that we're up $23,000. This is tax impact, not budget, but impact to the taxpayer. The budget's at $23,000. You'll see the warrant articles are down $89,000. If you add that up, means the impact to taxpayers to the town is down $66,000. Now go down to the school. You're going to see the budget's up $1.8 million. You're going to see the warrant articles are up $822,000. You add that up, that's $2.6 million. In any other case in this town, if this was a building or anything else, we'd be bonding this. We would never expend 2.6 without going for a bond. If the school is asking this taxpayer group and all the citizens out here to come up with $2.6 million increase over the last year. That's all I have to say.
Tracy?
All right. I've had a lot of time to think about this. Basically, last year, the difference in the spending per student in Wakefield was $1,000. This year, it's $1,400. We are widening our gap between the state average. We have $14,600 per student. The state average is $15,998. We had a flat budget last year, which was a disaster for everyone, and there's errors in it. A default budget, which doesn't allow you to carry over any new money, is up 6.2% because we are riddled with, it is severely under budgeted and it's riddled with errors. They didn't call and get the tuition rate for 187 students in Rochester. It's off by $305,000. There is no new money for our students here in Wakefield, and the gap is even bigger next year because it was a flat budget and it didn't go up. So at some point, a $1.1 billion town doesn't want to pay the average cost per student in the state of New Hampshire. And The reason we only added, and I am tired of this board being blamed for it, 6.2%, because the budget is so underfunded, they didn't even add. The only thing, the one and only thing that this school board has asked you for is money for the academics because it isn't thriving. They asked for windows that are leaking, that have asbestos, and they asked for buses that are over 10 years old with 200,000 miles. And that's it. If you want to underfund your school, you're going to get caught just like the water is. Are we going to fix the water for 3%, Pete?
Couldn't
No.
tell you. Haven't figured out the budget yet, but I'll let you know as soon as we do.
Peter?
First of all, I would like to address, nobody is blaming the school board, at least not here.
It has
What-
felt
what-
that way. Has it felt this way?
Excuse me, I didn't interrupt you, Tracy. I understand you're passionate about this. I sat on the school board for 2 years, budget committee for about 10, and you know what the constant theme is? If you only give us more money, we'll get above that 50 percentile. And I don't mean with budget, I mean with the education.
Okay, we haven't gotten more.
Tracy, please. I've been waiting for about 13, 15, maybe 15 years now to see us have our children thrive, to give them the education. I'm not blaming the teachers, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm saying it's a concerted effort, and money isn't the solution. And I'm afraid that the amount that you're asking right now is going to send the taxpayers over the top when they see this kind of money. Because I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to vote for this budget. And I would just say that you have to be careful, because your default budget's going to be a tough pill to swallow if that's what happens. Thank you.
Tracy?
The difference between the default budget and our regular budget is $292,000. The taxes are going up because the budget was so underfunded last year, and the budgets before that have been underfunded. If they've been asking for money, they haven't been getting it. So we are currently, it's up 6.26%. And if you don't want to do the windows for the warrant articles, and you don't want to do the buses, then you don't have to vote for it. But please do not think that there has been a ton of money thrown at the school. We're going to be $1,800 below next year by the state average of $16,000. We're at $14,600, and they're at $16,000.
And it's
Wakefield is not throwing money at its school.
And it's not the budget committee's decision to decide where the cuts are.
There is going
It's our decision to try to present the town with a reasonable budget. And that's all we're asking, Tracy.
And the school has asked you, it is going up 6.26%, and the school board has said for an extra $20 per 100,000, which is maybe $29, actually it's 1.1 billion, so it's about $20 per 100,000, or $40 for a year for a $200,000 home to try and improve our academics in this school. That's it, because it is going up $60 per 100,000 in the default budget. Period. It is. It's going up $60 per 100,000 because it was so severely underfunded.
You know, I have to read this again because I read it last time. When you say you have nothing at all for the regular ed students or students in general, you have new positions. You have the other half of the student services coordinator. I understand that she was there, has been there, but it's going to cost you another $50,000. You have a curriculum coordinator. You have a regular ed aide. You have a nursing assistant, a day custodian, I think half a day custodian, ABA tutors too, the partners program, 2 part-time SAU employees that are making full-time, a $65,000 new math curriculum, a IXL math supplement program, the literacy program, Fountas and Pinnell, for $75,000. There's an increase in subpay and a sound system for $13,000. And you know,
That's what this adds up to.
yeah, and I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, this is probably more than we've ever received before in one lump sum in a year.
It's I think it was 2.66% is the difference. I don't have it with me between the default.
Marie? Actually, it's not, go ahead, yeah.
Sounds like it might be on.
Yeah.
It's on.
So, I just want to make some clarification on the document that Denny was speaking to about the comparison. So, if you look at the sheet on the school side, there's, it shows that the general fund operating budget is only, because the gross up includes food service and grants. And that, we have offsetting revenue for that. So that's why we're using the budget, the operating budget only at the $10,045,990. And then if you add all the other warrant articles besides the budget, equates to the $983,000, $983,411. If you take the $983,411 and the $10,045,990, the total warrant articles listed on the sheet that was handed out tonight equates to $11,029,401. Is everybody following me so far? Then I listed on the left-hand side anticipated revenues. That equals $3,515,452. If you take that $3,515,452 away from the $11,029,401, which includes all warrant articles, that what you need, what the community would have to raise in taxes is $7,515,949, and that's an increase of one. And you can see the current year. We had to raise $5,708,315, and the difference between those two is $1,805,634. That's the increase that would have to be raised if every single one of the warrant articles were passed by the community. Does anybody have any questions about that? I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Any questions for Marie? Anything else anybody wants to address right now?
Just something on the warrant, on the sheet that Marie just talked about.
Okay.
The town has, in the last 3 years, 17, 18, 19, raised $2,119,129 worth of warrant articles. The school is at $1,482,063. There are two one-time, well, this includes the teachers, and this includes the $200,000, which is a one-time request because our budget is so underfunded, which would really turn out to be $1,111,000,63, which is about $1 million less than the town.
Yes, Dave?
I have just a general comment. Last year, we sat here, and I made the comment about the story about the airplane flying, loses an engine. It's out in Canada, somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and engine goes out, another engine goes out. The passenger comes forward and asks the pilot, how far are we going to make it, with two engines out? He said, well, we're going to make it all the way to the scene of the crash. And I said, of last year's budget, the school budget is going to make it all the way to the scene of the crash. And I have the same opinion this year. My business is the largest single taxpayer in Wakefield, together with my clients who are summer visitors. I guess I should be motivated to see the reputation of the school go down because it needs improvement and it's not properly funded. And then more students will leave, families won't move into town. When the enrollment drops, and we can complain there's too many teachers for too few students. So probably I should be the leader of this parade to try to really keep the school from doing what these elected school board people want to do, which is to improve it. My father would ask, do these people have stock in some company? If you want to spend money, if you're purporting to spend a lot of money somewhere, my father would say, well, you must have stock in the company. Well, these people do have. They have kids in the school. That's the stock they have in the company. There are co-equals. They're elected by the people, voters of Wakefield. My preference is when I hire professional people, and these are professional career people who come before us, I tend to do what they tell me to do. I don't have to go through all these numbers and look at every little detail. It's more than I can comprehend. I think it's more than anyone can comprehend. Even the professionals spend a lot of time looking at it. All I have to do is have honest people come to me and say, this is what we need. I'll give them what they need. I've also found out in business that when someone needs something to do a job, give them what they need. If they ask for $100, they probably need 120 or 110 because they're giving you the best case scenario. And they'd really probably need a little more to do it right. When I go to buy something, I always buy quality, because if you try to go on the cheap route, you get inferior products that don't work out in the long run. But if you buy the best, then you're going to get value for your money. So instead of doing what I should be doing, which is trying to diminish the school because I'm a big taxpayer, I'm going to vote for everything the school board wants on every instance because they've made a study of it, and I feel it's necessary to pay it forward. I got a public education, and I owe that to the children of Wakefield to give them every opportunity for that public education. So I don't have any kids in this school. My grandchildren are in a school in St. Johns County, Florida, and my son brags about top-rated school across the country, top-rated school. Doesn't every parent want to go and live in a town that has a top-rated school? Well, what I wish for the school in Wakefield is that someday it would be top-rated, and I'll do everything in my power to help it get there. So my vote is yes. Yes on everything the school board recommends.
Thank you, Dave.
5-0. 5-0 unanimous recommendation. What do I need to know beyond that?
Frank?
I just have a comment about this process. Up to this point, my comments and questions have been limited to, do you have an estimate for this amount of money you're asking, or is this a wild guess, or asking for clarification on language? I would like to just comment that I personally have grown weary of the mischaracterization of the statements and arguments that the Budget Committee is trying to, as a reminder, put an effort into a budget request the citizens can accept, because I don't believe it's in the school's best interest to put something forth, not suggesting they are. I'm simply suggesting that it's not in the best interest to put something forth that when the whole ship goes down, all hands are lost. As a result, I do not intend to give a blanket pre-vote approval for every dollar requested, because I think it is too important, as the Budget Committee members have tried to make clear and had mischaracterized. We're trying to help get as much as possible for the school board that the people can live with. And the suggestion that anybody in the Budget Committee wants to crush the efforts of the school board, the school teachers, the school administration efforts is not fair. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Anybody else? Peter?
Oh, let's have.
Oh, wait a minute, let's James.
Yeah, again, I think I stated this last meeting, that school department is just one facet of this community. I guarantee that every single department, police, fire, public works, rec department, can stand before us and argue their case for such an increase in their operating budgets. And I'll reiterate or touch on it. We have to put forth our opinion as a committee to the taxpayers that are going to say at the polls, the Budget Committee recommends, a lot of times I think that they go on our recommendations or not, and I think you're going to have a hard time come election day or voting day to see a lot of yes votes for all these warrant articles and the operating budget. alone. So I just think it's a difficult situation. Everybody wants everything in the world. We want to be able to give the best to the residents, the children, taxpayers of this community, but I think we have to do it in a more fiscally responsible way. Not saying you're being irresponsible, but that is a lot to swallow. I know Tracy tried to compare the 2.1 versus the 1.4, but again, the 2.1 is covering every other facet of this town, every other department. School board 1.4, that's just one department. They all have their importance, they all have their reasons for being here. And again, I'm not going to give a blanket yes either, so.
Peter?
I would just like to address Mr. Mankus. It's nice to hear that your business is doing so well, but I'm not here to represent the higher end of this community. I'm here to represent every citizen in this community. And there are people on fixed incomes that are having a hard time, even in this great economy. They don't get a raise. They get a 2.88%. I think we brought that out at the beginning of this whole budget cycle. They can't afford to have this thrown on them, some of these increases. And I also would say that it's very remiss for you to acquiesce your obligation to the community to want to study the subject matter and just give your vote away without even investigating anything, because we already proved through this whole process that not everything was researched thoroughly, including, like we said, the nurse program there. We talked about looking for the parents' insurance company or whatever. Nobody even looked into that. So why would you just acquiesce your rights to study that and take a vote on it without asking a question? That's beyond me.
Okay.
I don't sit here for nothing.
Okay. Let's, go ahead. And then we're going to get to the budget.
I just want to bring it back full circle. The default budget is going to raise taxes. Our budget has been so underfunded that if we don't add anything, the default budget, which will bring it up $605,000 because the previous budget is so poor. What the school board has asked for is $277,000 to improve the academic education and some building repair, which amounts to $25 per 100,000. If you vote down our proposed budget, which you will still get an increase because the budget prior to this is so poor. So I don't want everybody to leave here thinking that if you vote down the proposed budget by the school board that there isn't going to be an increase. The major portion of this increase is in the default budget. That's how low it is. We are not average, and we're getting further and further apart from paying the average cost per student in the state of New Hampshire. But please remember that voting down this budget doesn't mean you're not going to get a tax increase. You are. You're going to get a $60 per $100,000 increase. If you vote for the one that actually helps try and change some of the academics of the school, you're increasing it approximately $20 per 100,000.
Ms. Sully, can I have one more comment?
One more.
You know, if the townspeople were really interested in all the details that we're talking about here tonight, we'd have 200 people sitting here. But they're not interested in the details. They want a good school, and they want it to cost them a reasonable amount of money. When they come in and vote, and they see that their taxes for the school are going up $2.6 million versus the last budget, that's all the information they're going to look at. Because if they were really interested, they'd be here.
We've got to get to this budget.
Okay, thank you.
One last one, just
Short, Tracy.
okay, short. The state of New Hampshire average is $15,998. Wakefield is $14,600. The gap is growing. It doesn't seem unreasonable. Thank you.
Okay. All right, let's go to Article 8. If anybody wants to address any of the articles, we'll do that after we do 8.
Can I make a request, Priscilla?
Yes.
Reference all of them. I don't know if this is done here or the deliberative session. I know they've been altered so many times. Is there the possibility for each individual warrant to say what that impact is going to be? So at the
No,
polls,
no,
they
you
can't put, that's an
no,
11
legally
cent?
you can't do that.
You can't do that?
No, no. It would be nice if you could do that, and people might choose articles that they might not vote for, but if it's not a high impact, but that's illegal to do that. Okay, Article 8. Shall the Wakefield School District vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 to be added to the Educationally Disabled Children's Expendable Trust Fund previously established? The school board recommend this appropriation 5-0. We've gone back and forth with this. They came in with $100,000. We zeroed it. We shouldn't have. But we know, we agree we shouldn't have. But to give a little background, for 21 years, we have been changing warrant articles, monies. Nobody from the town, nobody from the school, nobody ever questioned it. So we were just doing what we've always done. I mean, we didn't choose this year to cut money out of warrant articles. So, anybody have any comments on, or a motion on this article?
I think, if I may, I missed the last meeting, but the previous meeting, there was quite a bit of discussion related to this as it relates to Article 6, I believe, with the deficit. And we talked about what was needed from the special ed coordinator, and she still said 100,000. We currently have 105,965 in the trust fund. So, I mean, yes, my intent would be to just either Article 6 or Article 8. We voted in favor of Article 6. So in that case, I would say probably don't need Article 8.
We went back and forth with this, Howie. 0, 100, the school board at that point said they were going to leave it at 0 and we wouldn't discuss it again, but that was before they knew that we couldn't change it. So, yes, Tracy?
You do know that we are going to use it. So they're not trying to put 200 in. The objective is it will be used because we have many extra special ed students this year. It will bring it to 0. For this year, it is to replenish it for the 19-20 budget.
Yeah, I really don't think we need a lot of discussion on this article. We probably spent half our time on this article. So if somebody wants to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to...
I'll second.
All those in favor of the motion?
You need to raise hands.
Okay, all opposed? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. What is it? How many of us are there? 1, 2, 3.
8, right?
9.
9, Pete came in.
So it's 2-7. How much is it? 2-7.
3-6.
3-7?
3-7.
Okay, 3. 3-6.
Just making sure.
Yeah, somebody out there count, because you can see
Yeah,
the
because I
answer
can't
of the
see the
weekend.
whole
Guess we
thing.
have to improve our math program.
Okay, 3-6. We do not recommend this article. Now, Article 16,
We already voted on it.
I know, you have the question marks here, but we voted on this on the 26th of December, and the vote was...
Can I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
Now that our vote is in, are we going to get the same kind of wording that's up in Article 5, that the Budget Committee does not recommend this appropriation?
Yeah, they changed them all, Denny.
We did it already.
Priscilla,
Yes.
may I ask the school board?
Not done, we just voted on it. I said, what are we going to get for wording?
I did say, Denny, that the school board does not recommend that article.
Thank you.
Peter?
May I just ask the school one question in regards to that 100,000 special education? It was mentioned that we have an in-house specialist who gives the IEPs out or assesses. Is there any companies that do private contracting for that, and has the school bothered to look into that if it's possible?
Schools typically have it in-house. We have special.
But I'm not asking typically,
We have, we've never looked into that, just to answer your question straight up.
Could we do that at some point?
Advertising special ed.
Could we do that at some point to see if there's somebody out there that, it seems so self-serving when you're in there to be because we have a high rate for some reason. Higher than state average, right? If I'm not mistaken, by 20%?
I would certainly say that I could discuss that with the student services director.
Thank you.
There is a privatization possibility.
Thank you, Jerry. That's all I'm asking, please.
Okay, that article was voted on, and on the 26th, we voted 2-8. So we voted not to recommend it. And you wanted us to look at it again, why?
Because if you, can I speak?
Sure.
Okay, so the motion was not to recommend it. 2-8.
Yes,
So 2 means yes, right?
right?
Yes, not to recommend it. 8 means yes, 8 means they do recommend it. That's why we're having it here for clarification.
Clarification.
What is it that is the intent? 2, if you were not to recommend 2 means only 2 people are not recommending it, and everybody else are. That's why it's here for clarification purposes.
So it's the wording of the article.
It's the wording of the motion.
The motion, yeah.
Right, it's
It's the wording of the
Okay.
motion.
We'd like to re-vote on this one?
Yeah, might as well.
Thank you.
Do I have,
I'll make a motion to
Motion
move
to-
the article.
okay. Do I have a second to move the article?
Second.
If you're voting yes, then you're approving this article, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Can you read the article?
yes. Shall the Wakefield School District vote to authorize indefinitely until rescinded the retention of year-end assigned general funds in an amount not to exceed in any fiscal year 2.5% of the current fiscal year's net assessment, in accordance with RSA 198:4B2. Such fund balance retained can only be used to reduce the tax rate or for emergency expenditures and over expenditures under RSA 32:11, which are approved by the Department of Education. The school board recommends this 5-0. They're asking to keep 2.5% of the fiscal year's net assessment at the end of the year.
Are we allowed discussion?
Go ahead.
I have a question. In the event there is retained money, which I would not expect, if this is not approved, where do those funds go? Are they returned? And so they would, what we're voting on is whether the school retains it for purposes of reassignment or return to the town if unspent. Is that correct?
Yes, and there's two pieces to that question.
Okay.
So, when the tax rate is set, part of the document, it states how much can be, what the 2.5% of the assessment is. The school district then can retain all of it, part of it, and determine, so let's say you had $50, the school district may determine that they're gonna return 25 and put $25 in this retained. So it doesn't mean that the school board will take the whole thing, but you're
Right.
correct.
Sure.
It's only if there is remaining funds when we close the books.
And my final question is, what amount of money does 2.5% equate to?
Well, in
Approximately?
in the 17 tax rate document, it said about $185,000,
Okay,
if I
thank you.
remember. Yeah, I'm just going to answer your question, because there is a process to actually access that money. And every year, so it's not like a trust fund. The
Sure.
trust fund, it stays there until it's used, where this money gets returned every year. And every year, you have to determine if you're going to utilize that or not.
So it doesn't go back to offset taxes,
It can.
but it,
At the
Does-
end, when the fiscal year ends, if it's not used, it goes right back into the fund balance, and then when they set the tax rate, there's another net assessment dollar amount that's provided, and it's not the same every year, then the school board can decide to do the same thing it did previously. But at the end of the year, if it's not used, it goes right back into the fund balance.
I remember having these prior, and we always said no to them. But- You ready to take a vote?
Yes.
Those that vote in favor want this 2.5% to be left with the school. All those in favor? 2. All opposed?
Is that correct?
2 and 7?
2-7. Yeah, 2-7.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other warrant articles anybody on the Budget Committee would like to discuss?
Yeah, I want to talk about Article 2 and Article 3 again. I'm still disappointed with the language that says the Budget Committee recommends on a tie vote throughout the state. It's always the Budget Committee does not recommend.
That's what it says.
That's what it
Danny.
says now, Dan.
it says.
It's fixed, it does say that.
Says the Budget Committee does not recommend.
This says here, right here,
Okay,
so that this one here does say not recommended.
thank you very much. That's it for me.
Okay. Any other business before the Budget Committee? I'm going to recess the Budget Committee meeting at what time? Anybody got to watch?
7:10.
Can I just ask a question before you adjourn?
Mm-hmm.
So, today is the last day that these warrant articles need to be finalized. These need to be posted publicly on Monday. So I'm going to try my hardest to get all the, I have to go on the New Hampshire Department of Revenue portal and put all this information in, and make sure everything ties out. Reports are printed, and the Budget Committee needs to sign the MS-27, which will show what the school board recommends, and what the Budget Committee recommends, and will show what's being worked for. The school board will have to sign these warrant articles based on the changes that were made today, as well as the default budget. So once those reports have been finalized in the Department of Revenue portal and I get printed, I will send everyone an email asking for them to please sign the documents. My question to the Budget Committee is, where would the Budget Committee like the MS-27 reports placed so we can ensure that they get signed so they're posted timely on Monday?
At the SAU?
Well, if people can't get there before the SAU closes on Friday, then she has to send it out Monday. It has to be posted Monday. So, sounds like we're going to have to do some over the weekend. Unless, I doubt everybody can be at the SAU before closing time on Friday.
I will be there probably till 5 o'clock.
Can everybody be there before 5 o'clock?
No.
No.
So is there a way that I could bring them to the town hall and pick them up first thing Monday morning?
That's what I was going to say. Isn't the town clerk's office open on Saturday? Couldn't they?
Is it this Saturday?
Huh?
I was thinking the same thing.
No, not this
But
Saturday.
it's not this Saturday, I don't think.
Well, whatever's, on a Saturday.
Nobody's here on a Saturday.
Oh, okay.
I can sign documents prior to 04:30 and after 17:30. After that, I cannot be, in between, I cannot be here.
Well, we need a majority.
I'm fully capable of signing them at someone's house, work, or anywhere, the McDonald's, after 5:30 PM.
5:30.
I don't arrive to Wakefield until 5:30 PM. Okay.
Now, you're going to be at the SAU?
Okay. That'd be easiest. That way you know if you got a quorum or not and get a hold of us.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, for your understanding. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And once you get a quorum, and if it goes after 5:30, you can always email people. Okay. Okay, recess the...
They're not going to be available until Friday afternoon?
I will send an email out when it has to, there's a process that still has to be done. We just got finalized tonight. I have to do it tomorrow. So I will send everybody, the Budget Committee as well as the school board, saying that the reports are ready to be signed. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to open up the public hearing. It's about 7:15.
What time is it?
Does everybody have a copy of the information that they have on the board? I mean, on the table over here? All the people in the audience?
If you want one?
I don't think they do. Okay. Do I have to read all these again? I don't have to go through all these again. Okay.
Just ask if there's any questions.
Anybody have any questions on any of these articles?
Discussions. Anybody?
Well, some of them are looking them over. Because I'm not going to read them all again because they've been read several times. Norma?
I have been attending this one, something. Can you explain Article 16, please?
Marie, would you like to explain Article 16?
Are we raising money in March to pay for this year, for this past year?
This is for the current fiscal year. Want me to?
This year, and we're going to take it out and raise money next year for this year? Or is that what-
No, it's only if, correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding, Norma, is if there's excess in the budget in one area that would normally come back, they can use it to offset the deficit.
She's talking to 6.
Oh, yeah.
Articles. I thought you said 16, Article 6.
Yeah, I was getting the wrong one, too.
Yeah.
I thought, sorry, Norma. No, that is raising $200,000, but it would only be used
Up to.
up to 200,000. So it may not raise 200,000. Yeah.
This current
It's
year.
for this current year's deficit.
They're expecting a deficit, so they're asking for this money to be set aside so that if they need it, they can use it.
And if they, let's say it comes up to only $10,000, they can only use $10,000. They can't use more than the actual accounting deficit. Then the rest won't be raised come tax time in
Right.
November.
I think,
Did I do that right?
Yes, you did, but can I add something to that? Can I add something to that?
yes,
So, for informational purposes, we're doing it at this session in March, because we're going to miss the opportunity if we are in a deficit, and it doesn't go on the warrant article now, we'll have to have a special meeting to ask for that, and go to the Department of Revenue and tell us the situation. This is one way to address it beforehand, and it's only going to be raised if it's needed, and it's after the close of the books in June. So at the end of June, depending on what our ending fund balance is, that's how it's going to be affected. Instead of waiting until that point and then having to go back to DRA and then have another special meeting to have this money raised because legally, the appropriations can't be implemented.
and this is,
Did that make it clear for you?
thank you. This isn't a contingency fund, so I'm assuming that if you're going to need this money, you have to document it and let the budget committee know what you're using it for.
Absolutely. On a monthly basis, when the school district presents to the school board the budget status, we know on a monthly basis, and our rep, the school board rep to the town, which is Tracy, she presents the budget to the budget committee once the board receives it. So
Right.
the board will be aware every month where we stand.
But I'm talking about this appropriation right here. If you want to use that money, you have to document it and let the budget committee know exactly what you're using it for and why.
It's in the report on a monthly basis.
Okay.
It's shown.
I think one thing is important to point out that we know data-wise that there were at least 2 items that were totally under budget last year. One was special ed, second one, and more importantly, is the Rochester tuition. And they total almost $600,000. So that's why that is in there.
Any other questions from the audience?
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Could somebody tell me the time?
7:18.
7:18.
What if I could figure out this new phone?
Any other business to come before this board?
Oh, we gonna resume the meeting?
Yes, I'm going to, yeah,
Now you can ask your question.
okay. I'm reopening the Budget Committee meeting. Anybody else have anything to come before this board? I'd like to have the minutes approved of the 9th, both sets, public hearing and the actual Budget Committee meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Make it second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And you abstain.
I'm abstaining, because I wasn't here.
Anything else anybody has?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.